Welcome back, sir. It's good to see your face. It's good to
Ditto.
hear your voice. And embargoed until Friday. What a beautiful, I would want to call it a wonderful introduction to summer because all that I get is summer. All I hear is positive, upbeat lyrics aside, but just in the melody and the arrangement, just a beautiful celebration of um, yeah, positivity. Yes, no, you're
That's it,
nodding.
you know,
Just
yeah.
nothing.
No, for real, I mean we went for it started with that beat, like Everett Bradley, my co-writer on this one, he pushed me into that direction with the beat, he wanted something
Mm,
up and like energetic. And then, I came in with my, I
yeah.
think
Post.
more slightly melodramatic, you
Mhm.
know, melodic approach, and then the subject matter was the idea was what do you what do you write to your best friend? You know,
Mm,
someone that you can tell anything. You can
yeah,
tell them anything and they won't judge you, no matter
yeah,
what it is. They'll
yeah,
still love you and that it's like it's about, you can say that stuff and feel like you're okay.
yeah.
And they and
That's,
because you trust them,
mm,
then they make you feel like you're okay, you're all right,
yeah, and it's
like
authentic, right?
yes, because it is, and living in this time where we're talking to this all the time,
I know, right?
to like talk to someone that will see you for who you are no matter what, when I'm with
Waterfall. Yeah.
you, that was the idea. And then a lot of the other stuff is like the current life, 10,000 words, nothing said, like how we're just like in this like echo
Mm,
chamber of people talking
noise.
shit.
Yeah, it's
Um,
noise.
yeah, and then but then when you're with this person or whatever it is, a person, a lover, friend, anything, a
Mm.
pet, I mean,
Yeah.
um, you
That
can be you.
connection.
You can be you. You don't have to change. You don't have to
Yeah.
be someone you're not or someone
Yeah.
else or try
Yeah.
to be
Which,
someone or act a certain way to get to get reassurance or do a certain thing to get attention. It was like you don't have to do anything. You
yeah,
just all you have to
you
do
can
is be
just be.
yourself. Yeah.
You can just be. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing to do,
It is
but
hard. And I think, I mean, you touch on an interesting topic because as you say, everything around you is fake, right? So you oftentimes you're not sure what to believe or what not to believe, and is it sincere? Is it authentic? Um, but then to present it in the way that you have is quite disarming because
hmm
it's you you kind of what's the word you the when the melody begins you kind of feel that it's positive, it's upbeat, but as you say, the subject is very real,
hmm
but yet the mood is very positive.
hmm
So trying to marry this not the seriousness but the intention of the lyric with such an upbeat melody is, I think it's wonderful to hear.
cheers.
I know. 120 plus. What? How many have you done now?
I'm doing one episode 130 today.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you, COVID. Yeah.
I know. That's when it started. Yeah, totally. And then I was remembering that because you write for the Sunday Times, right? Or is that,
Yes.
yeah. So that's how I think I told you that story. I'm trying to remember. Vernis Reed, I forget her name. And this is how I started coming back to South Africa. She
Mhm.
did a piece, and it was 10 years ago. She wrote on through my website, and I didn't know Mel then.
Mm.
Mel was not my agent, I like I and she this writer from the Sunday Times asked if I could do a piece on being a traveling musician. and
Mm.
what are the 10 things to remember, to make travel easier. And it ran in the paper, it ran in the Sunday Times.
Oh, wow.
And then my favorite fourth grade, my teacher from fourth grade at the German school in Johannesburg, Traute Riester, I just texted her today.
Okay.
She emailed me. She found me online and emailed me
Mm.
and said, "I just read this piece in the Sunday Times. Is this
Mm.
you?" And I was
Mm.
like, "Yeah, it's me. Oh my God, how are you?"
Amazing.
And
Yeah.
that's how I performed at the German school for their anniversary concert because she was still working with them on stuff, and
Yeah.
that's how that got set up. And then I met Mel through all of that,
Yeah.
So it was like, yeah, synergy.
Serendipity. Serendipity is what I call it. But no, I mean, I think you do have a very obvious connection to this country by virtue of your life, but there is a lot of love for you in South Africa, obviously over
Mm,
the years, um, and I think you have reciprocated in coming back, and you continue to come back, you continue to play, um, and I wonder, at this stage of your career, um, what it means to you now, because you've walked the long road, and a lot of South Africans have walked the long road with you.
hmm
You're 7 albums deep, you're you know, et cetera, et cetera. That relationship has matured now. So,
hmm
kind of, what does it mean to you to have, yes, a very small and loyal audience in darkest Africa that
It's not so
informs.
small when you look at the numbers of the how much the reaches of like Pour the
Mm,
Champagne or
mm,
You and I that I did with Tamara Day. It's like in the tens of
mm.
millions. Like
Yeah,
when
it's
you look at
great.
the radio numbers, you go, huh? How is that
Yeah.
even, so yeah, it's honestly it sort of it boggles the mind a little bit because it feels abstract
Mm,
because you can't, you don't see those people's faces
no.
when they listen to the song on the radio or whatever.
Mm, mm,
Um, so you don't, so you're relying on like a number or
mm,
supplied by, like Apple Music does this now, which is great. Like I have access to stations all over, but that nucleus that happened there and then Germany and here in the US,
mm.
has now morphed into the Brazilians picking up Love You the Most.
I know,
And they
and you're going
started
to be playing
playing
that.
that song.
Yeah,
And so I'm heading there in October to
I
to
know, which
do
is
that. And
great.
and it's the internet and radio and you can it's wild.
Yeah,
And
you
that
couldn't.
song came out, that was a top 40 hit in the US in 2019. But so it really kind of it was interesting because it was the when In Tandem came out, which is I think when I was first met
Mm,
you,
yes,
somewhere around
that's
that time.
that's
And
right.
then, Take Me to Forever started, got this like spike on Apple, and then I got a deal here in the US, and and Gallo
Mm,
picked up the record there, and then, there was a lot of drama too. Like nothing is of course without challenges, and it wasn't, I mean, almost that it
oh, for
was it
sure.
was really tough at that time, I mean, I really was burning the candle at both ends, but it worked out, and
Mm,
but it's interesting how music just finds its own path, and you just follow what the
mm,
music tells you to do. And in a way,
the,
that's how it's worked out for
yeah.
me. So I have like my it's like a cottage industry, but it's uh let's just say it's like it's not too big and it's not too small. It's in a way where I can manage it, and I have a great team. And Mel is includes in that.
Mm,
I have a great team here in the US, and then I have my connections in Germany, and then I have a promoter in Brazil. But like these are all relationships and friendships that I've built up over the years, just like with you. And it took a long time and
mm,
to get there, but it's like that no time is long enough when you've put in the work and you didn't give up, because The
Yes.
difference between me and the next guy is they were like, okay, I can't take this anymore. And I have thought that a hundred
Yeah.
thousand times. But then I wake up the next day and I go,
I'm sure.
yeah, I'll be all right. Let's keep going. And then
Yeah.
something fine. Then
Yeah,
when
but
it happened,
I
when I
mean,
had
but
a hit, it was like, okay, it was all worth it. Thank God I didn't give up. You know,
but it
could
begs
have.
yeah, but it begs an interesting question is that you stubbornly or otherwise, you pitch up, for the fans that are there with the anticipation of growing that fan base. And then, the fact that you've done your 10,000 hours, then the universe colludes and goes, okay, Brazil. Then it goes, okay, but hold
Yeah,
on, Germany's like that. South Africa's. So there's a point, and I think for someone like yourself, it's really hard to let go because you are very much, you are very invested in your career and every aspect of it. But then there's that point where you've got to let like the new song go and go
yeah,
where it will,
yeah.
which must be exciting, but at the same time, weirdly frustrating because you can't rein it. You just got to let it
No.
run and see where it lands.
Hmm. Very true. Very true. So it reminds me of a Pete Seeger quote. Pete Seeger said this to, and I knew Pete and played with him a few times, hung out with him a couple of times. He said this
Mm,
to John Mellencamp, who has, been around forever too. And he said, keep it small, but keep it going.
yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's it. Like build your team. The rest will take care of itself. And and write the music and put it out there and push it and I'm always going to do that. Like, I'm very driven and I
Mm,
want things to build more and succeed and I
mm,
want things to work out and grow um and you never know what's going to happen. You just never know where it's going to come from. Here, love it too. When I play it here, it's always people always want to hear pour the champagne. So
mm,
it is what it is. But you know what? The thing I think that's different is I could have stopped. I could have stopped there and been like, okay, good. But I'm
mm.
very hungry to write and to keep pushing and seeing what else
But what are
I
you
could get,
pushing for? I mean, having followed your career for as long as I have, I'm curious to understand in your mind what would make you take a break or go on holiday to go, we've done
I
well
do
here.
now. Yeah. Yeah, so I do that
You know
now.
what I
So
mean? You
I've
know what I
I've
mean?
made myself do that. I've made myself say, you know what? There is something other than work.
Mm,
And I'm allowing myself, like I take myself to Mexico City for my
yeah,
birthday this year,
lovely. Yep.
And I'm gonna also do some work while I'm there. I'm gonna write, I'm working on a script for a
You
film.
cannot not, of
So no, I have to, and I want to. I love it.
course. Yeah.
I love writing. I really, really
Mm,
do.
mm.
I just do it on my terms now. So
Which
that's
is
the big
great.
difference. That's the
It is
difference.
massive
And
difference.
yeah, it's still the passion is still the same. The thing you're asking me why, it's the same reason I did it in the first place. I love to
Mm,
write. I really want
mm,
to. I want to be a better writer. I want to get better at
mm,
writing. I feel like I'm starting to become good.
mm. You'll spend the rest of your
Honestly,
life
yeah.
doing that. No, which is great because I think you speak to any established artist, which you are one of them, is when have you reached your pinnacle? No, I don't think in your lifetime you ever will, but you will spend your lifetime striving to achieve that. And that's what your audience loves about you is that at no point are you lackluster or indifferent about this process. And no different to the fact that even with the new song is that that you insist on bringing people in and having them challenge you
Yeah.
to find and unlock things that you wish to find in yourself, but alone not
Hmm.
necessarily
Hmm.
possible. And I think when I'm with you is a classic example of that, where you get the right people, whether it's RJ Benjamin, whether it's Corin Zoid, this collaborative environment that you seem to thrive in.
Yeah,
That's where the magic happens.
totally. And that it did give me a career, you know. It was collaboration. I always say that collaboration gave me a career. It really did.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm,
Just
mm, mm,
connecting with others and letting others push you you know, out of your comfort zone.
mm. But now there is the new song. Please tell me that this is a song that is part of an album that we will hear maybe before Christmas or no?
Not before Christmas, but maybe shortly after.
Okay. Okay. You see, you're such a tease. But yes.
I have
No,
to be. I have some. I have to be careful to say the right thing when it comes to that because of
okay.
yeah,
We'll leave it there.
because of things, other
We'll leave
things.
it there. No, but the
Yes, but
beauty
that's the
is,
plan, and it's written, and so that's the great
sure
part.
it
And
is.
there's some
Okay.
really nice co-writers on it too. Marcella Detroit is another one,
Oh,
from
really?
Shakespeare's sister. Yeah,
Yes, we know who she is.
yeah,
Yes, we
yeah.
know
Of
who she
course, you know who she is. Yeah, I mean,
That's wonderful.
I was a teenage boy watching MTV in the '90s, watching Shakespeare's sister.
Yeah. No, but
And
she's got wonderful range, my word.
oh
She,
yeah, lovely, lovely artist, lovely person.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
lovely.
Yeah, no, but now, so you've got that going on that we're not going to talk about because we can't until it
I don't have
happens.
one yet. I don't have a release date yet, but yeah, but
No, no,
it's coming.
but
It's
you've
coming.
got these shows coming up. You've got, say, Brazil later in the year. You've
Mhm.
got where else did I see? You had
Oh, we have New
Mexico,
York. Yeah, we have New York coming up.
and then you got Florida, and then you've got back to Germany.
Yes,
So
yes,
you're busy. You're
yeah,
busy in
yeah,
between.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a lot. I'm much more picky with my touring. I don't. I for years I lived out of a suitcase, and I don't want to do that anymore. So,
Mm,
and I have more choices, so that helps
mm,
as far as shows is concerned, and where I can play because I have so many markets that I can tour in now.
mm, mm, mm,
So that's very helpful. But yeah, I like it. Like the writing and producing part is has really become like a favorite. The
mm.
just that process of
Well,
creating is I love that.
if I can give you an assessment from the last time that I saw you in person here in Cape Town, is that what I'm seeing is a far more relaxed, a far more assured person, somebody
Mm,
who is calm. Um,
thank you.
whereas in previous meetings, it has been a lot more. Um, I can't think of the word. Um, whereas the level of confidence that I'm seeing and I'm hearing in the music as well is wonderful to hear because it's almost like you believe in what you've created, whereas before it's like you had to make other people believe, whereas now you believe it. That's
Yeah.
enough. Yeah. Does that make
I
sense?
think that's I'll take it as a compliment. It feels that way, you're right. It is more recent.
Mm,
Even when I was starting to have success, and it still kind of felt abstract to me.
mm,
It still feels kind of like, is that me that I'm talking about? Is that someone else?
mm.
Now I feel like, yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
me.
That is
And
you.
that's all
Yeah.
right. And there's more to do.
And
Mhm.
the lovely part of that is that the applause and what comes with it is no less diminished, but you know in yourself that what you have done is worthy. And it's a weird, it's kind of just a weird shift in your head. And what happens when that happens is that everything that you have sought weirdly is attracted to you. You become weirdly more
Mm,
attracted
mm,
to
mm,
the broader audience, which is,
mm,
you would like a bigger audience as possible. And I think, yeah, I think from what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing is I'm very excited for this next chapter that you are embarking on. And I think 2026 is going to be a big year for you by
mm.
all intents and purposes. Yeah.
That's the plan, every day is a gift, like I say, every day. It
So
is.
lyrical. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
it's
No,
true.
it's a gift. It's a gift. No, as
Yeah,
you say, it is a gift. It could be taken away from you. And
you
yeah,
never
we've all
know.
lost people, right?
I
So
know.
just
Yeah.
being present, being aware,
Mm.
um, and bringing the right people together, which you clearly have a knack of doing, is marrying yourself with the right kinds of creative people. Is that's that is part of what makes Young Close great, right?
Yes, I think it does have to do with surrounding yourself with the right people. And there were
Mm.
several years when I didn't. It's true, like I sometimes made bad choices with some people that I surrounded myself with
Mm.
because I felt like I think I was too scared that there weren't going to be there wasn't going to be someone else.
Yeah,
Like it was my own insecurity got in the way.
yeah.
And I took a really good hard look at that and said,
Mm.
why am I hanging around with these people, or why am I allowing these people in?
Mm.
What are they doing for me?
Yeah, you're
And
giving them power. You're giving them power that they don't deserve. Yeah.
correct. And so and it's also like you have to also get over the fact that some people are just going to talk shit about you no matter what.
I know for sure.
And that I used to think like, oh, I have to please everybody and I have to do it so that make sure everybody's happy, and I'm realizing that, that's, it's my childhood abandonment issues. It's like that's what happens. That's what you do,
That is, yeah,
when you
that is
face
not your job.
it's
Your
exactly
job.
what you do, like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
classic human psychology, it's
Mm-hmm.
like you want to make everything right because, you're trying to fix something,
Mm.
and you can't. It's just,
No.
it's impossible, and it'll make you crazy. You'll lose your mind. You'll go fucking crazy if you do that. And so at one point I said, you know what? No, and I think it was a combination of success and confidence and time and learning and getting to know myself better and yeah, giving myself some credit. I think you're right. I think that's it was a lot of work
Mm.
falling on
But,
my
but
face, and getting back up and
yeah,
realizing, wait a
but
second.
but I get a sense that Jan likes Jan now.
Yeah, yeah, he's all right. He's all right. Yeah, yeah, not
You'll hang
bad.
out with Jan.
I do
Yeah.
like hanging out with myself, I think maybe that's it. I actually enjoy being by myself. I like being alone.
Hmm.
I'm not one of those people that needs people around them all the time. I really don't. In fact, I'm quite happy if once I'm done,
Yeah.
I do enjoy company and I do enjoy energy of other people very much, but to
Hmm.
an extent, like I need time for myself to recharge, to work, to write, to go running,
Hmm.
to enjoy nature, to reflect, and and not to obsess.
Yeah.
It's easy to do, easy to do, and
Yeah, which you spent a lot of time doing, and it's exhausting, and it takes
I
away
did.
from the creative process. That
Hmm.
I get a sense that that energy is now going in the right direction, in the right place, and being served in the best possible way. So, to my earlier point, I'm really excited to hear about what is going to come in 2026. But I wish you joy and freedom to just experience Brazil, to experience Mexico, to just if I was to ever tattoo anything onto my wrist, it would be on the one wrist it would be just, and on the other wrist it would be, just be. And I get a sense that you are just being, and by just being, you are creating some of the best music of your career.
This is the most therapeutic interview I've ever had.
That wasn't the point. That wasn't the point.
That was beautiful. No, I appreciate that, and like I think it's also because we've known each other a while now, and you've seen a lot of
Indeed,
stuff that I've gone through, and
indeed.
it was sometimes up, sometimes down, and so it's meaningful. I appreciate that. I do.
It comes from the heart, and
Cheers.
at this point,
Cheers, darling.
there's no point in me saying to you, don't doubt yourself because you are not doing that. And this is what I love. You've taken back the power, and the power is in the song. Um,
Mm.
and I thank you for that, and I think your audience will thank you over and over again in the months ahead.